Okay, third meeting before us tonight is a meeting of the Urbana City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council members Brown,
Still here.
Percy,
Here.
Jacobson,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Roberts,
Here.
Wu,
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. Before we go any farther, I wanted to, on behalf of the City of Urbana, and I know the City Council, I wanted to express our condolences to the family of Bernadine Evans Stake. Miss Stake passed away a few days ago. If you needed a definition of a public, or the embodiment of a public servant, Bernadine Stake was it. She arrived in Urbana with her family in 1963, and very shortly after that, jumped into local government, local Democratic Party activities. She also earned her master's and PhD here as well. So she was an educator, but she was a public servant, a civic-minded individual. She spent 16 years on the Urbana City Council. After that, she served for 19 years on the Urbana Plan Commission and just stepped down from that, I believe, about 3 years ago. She ran for mayor back in 1981. Losing to Jeff Markland, but not by much. And for almost 50 years, she was a legendary precinct committeeman in Cunningham 10, which consistently had the highest Democratic voter turnout, I think, in the entire county. I mean, year in and year out. And that's because Bernie worked the ward. She knocked on every single door, every single time, and she was never shy about telling you who to vote for. So, and it showed. I mean, it was grassroots government at its finest. She fought for fair housing. She fought for historic preservation. She fought for all sorts of sustainability issues. She pushed through recycling. She really worked for the safety of renters and renters' rights, and also rental property safety, things like smoke detectors, deadbolt locks, and that sort of thing. She was an advocate for social justice, racial justice, neighborhood preservation, and served on the boards of a number of social service organizations in this community. She opened her home year after year to events and parties and political activities, and to the neighborhood, and she lived across the street. She and Bob, her husband, lived across the street from Carl Park. Perhaps their entire time here. I don't know about that, but anyway, she was just a trailblazer for women in elected positions in Champaign County as well, and we all owe her a debt of gratitude, and we're all following in her footsteps. So I understand services will be held at a later date, a celebration of life. So again, our deepest condolences and gratitude to the family of Bernadine Evans Stake. Okay, we move on to approval of minutes from two previous meetings from February 18th and February 25th. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any corrections? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Any additions to the agenda? Okay. Public input. We have 3 cards tonight. One is from Bishop King James and Reverend Dr. Evelyn Underwood. They choose not to address members, but they're continually concerned about the Dr. Ellis subdivision sewer problem. Second is from Eldris Melinda Carr. She does not wish to address members, but expresses continued concerns about the Dr. Ellis subdivision sewer issues, equity, and historical impact. And then third is from Mr. Tim Odom regarding a parking ticket. Would you like to come up, please?
Good afternoon.
Sit in the chair and then just speak into the microphone so the folks at home can hear you as well, and this is being recorded.
Thank you.
And you
Good
have
afternoon.
5 minutes.
I just want to voice my opinion that, I feel, I was ticketed, which I went ahead and paid. If it would have been Carl Hospital and the doctor's appointment, didn't take 45 minutes, took 3 hours, that's one thing. If a person is doing his job, I feel it falls under common courtesy. No different than if your inspector comes over to inspect something, I'm assuming everybody here would want me to give him the common courtesy to listen to him and to work with him as a member of the community versus going against him. I feel this loading, unloading zone is a $30 ticket. Not that $30 makes or breaks me, but if I'm doing it in the line of my job, I don't feel that I'm getting the common courtesy back that I give the city of Urbana. You know, if it was Amazon, nobody would have got a ticket. If it was FedEx, nobody would have got a ticket. If it was Jimmy John's, nobody would have got a ticket. But because I do maintenance on some property in town, and I parked out in front of the building to load and unload my tools, I got a $30 ticket. So I don't believe I'm getting the same. And, you know, I've talked to a lot of other contractors in this town. Now, I'm assuming the city likes people coming and bidding stuff and doing work for the city, right? Nobody says when, hey, you going to bid this? Oh, well, if you park over here doing your job, your parking police is going to give you a parking ticket for unloading or loading your tools in a loading zone. Comes down to me as common courtesy is the bottom line here. And I just want to make sure that, you know, I had the opportunity to voice, because I've talked to a lot of different contractors, and we all feel the same thing. You know, we're doing our job. The $30 don't make or break us, but it's aggravation. It's extra time that I may go volunteer somewhere else and do something for the community. Instead, I got to come over here and pay a $30 ticket. I don't feel it's right. I don't feel that the city parking police gives us the same common courtesy that we give everybody in government official. Doesn't matter if it's the fire department, the police department, city inspector. We all work together is the way it's supposed to be. But when we get a $30 parking ticket for doing something out in front of some property that we see other people in and out all day long doing their job, I don't feel that that's fair or appropriate for the parking police to issue a ticket in a situation where you're doing your job. Thank you. You guys have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Oh, you had a question, Eric?
Yeah, excuse me, can I ask a question about the circumstance, get a little more detail? So, I'm trying to get into the head of the officer. Does your vehicle, do you think that the reason that you were ticketed is that the person who gave you the ticket did not recognize that you were a commercial vehicle loading and unloading, because it looked as though it was simply an ordinary private person's van, or would that not be the right explanation?
I don't know. I got a lot of ladders in my vehicle. I've probably got $20,000 worth of Makita tools in it. So it's kind of hard to not look at that as somebody doing work. I've got a little giant ladder in the back of the truck that's probably $3,000, let alone other step ladders and things of that nature. So it's kind of hard to confuse that as a college kid's vehicle versus somebody doing construction work or maintenance or something of that.
You know, it might be something that we could look at in the Traffic Commission, whether a vehicle, you know, vehicles like yours ought to be able to get and display some kind of permit that indicates that you are appropriate in a loading zone. Because I guess, as you say, there wouldn't have been any question if it was a FedEx truck or, you know, a truck from the furniture store or whatever. My guess is that, I mean, I guess this was a judgment call by the person who gave you the ticket, but maybe we can preempt that with some way of providing some sort of identification for people in your situation. It's certainly something we could look at, I think, in in Traffic Commission?
We can provide a little more detail on this particular situation.
Okay.
So, Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I do want to clarify, you can go ahead, it was not an officer who does the parking enforcement. We have parking enforcement personnel do that out of the finance department.
Right,
So-
right.
so- Okay. Does anyone else wish to address the Urbana City Council? Okay. Move on to unfinished business. There is none. Reports of standing committees. Dean Hazen is absent tonight, so Jared Miller will present the Committee of the Whole report.
All right, last week, the Committee of the Whole,
Turn on your microphone, please. Oh, sorry.
check, 1, 2.
Sounds like a short.
Hello, hello?
There
Hello,
you go.
is it there?
There
Okay.
you go.
Last week, the Committee of the Whole met and passed, or sent a couple of ordinances forward to the full council with recommendations for approval. The first of which is ordinance number 2019-02-017, ordinance amending Schedule J of Section 23-183 of the Urbana Local Traffic Code prohibiting parking at all times on certain streets, particularly Abercorn Street, Rainbow View. On behalf of the committee, I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Jared, seconded by Eric. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Hersey,
Yes.
Jepkison,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
That motion passes.
The next ordinance is number 2019-02-018, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain real estate, particularly 917 North Linview Avenue. On behalf of the committee, I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Jared, seconded by Mary Alice. Any discussion? And as part of our civic education, this is a vote that requires 3/4 of the alderpersons or 6 votes to pass.
And Mayor?
Yes,
And this is going to be, the sale is going to be through a public auction, is that correct?
correct. Details to be announced later. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Hersey,
Yes.
Jepkison,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Wu,
Yes.
Mayor Marlin.
Yes, that motion passes. Reports of special committees. Reports of officers. Okay. Any new business? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.